It's the year 1991, and the Super Nintendo has finally came out, while the Genesis has been around since '89. Both these consoles have their fair share of games, and to be honest with you, it's pretty hard to decide which of these consoles are better than the other. The graphics went from an 8-bit to a 16-bit. Sonic the Hedgehog was introduced in order to have a mascot to compete with Mario, and the Genesis had a load of add-ons. But that's what the video exists for. To demonstrate which is better, the pre-early 16-bit Genesis or the 2-year later 16-bit console SNES. I'll be covering 5 topics, and those will be the look, the controllers, the covers, the commercials, and last but not least, the better games. I'm the Thunder Mario, and welcome to another Thunder Compares. Alright, the two consoles both are now on their looks. As you see here, I'm only going to compare the original model, the Genesis, and I know that the SNES has a broken mark, but I don't freaking care. Judging by the looks, the SNES is pretty much nothing but a box with purple buttons, and once it starts to get old, it looks like somebody peed on it. Now no worries, I'm definitely for sure that I've never peed on my SNES before. Yup, never once did that. The Genesis, however, doesn't joke around when it comes to looks. In fact, there has been 3 model revisions. That's how serious it takes on the looks of the consoles. Now, without introducing the Model 2 and 3, the Model 1 Genesis may look like a box, but it has some random details on the console. Like, look at the Genesis where it has that box shape where you insert the cartridge, but on the Genesis, it has that nice circle design on the top. And also, not to sound sort of racist, even though that you will have your splits that I am a racist or not, the black on the Genesis just looks so much nicer than the white on the SNES. Yeah. I think that Genesis, that despite that it was released more earlier than the SNES, it has the best console design. So, point goes to the Genesis. Okay, the controllers are pretty much the same as the NES controller. The B and A buttons, the D-pad, pretty much everything that the NES had. However, the Genesis controller has a downside, and that is that it doesn't have as many buttons as the SNES. With the Genesis, there will be so many times where you'll have to memorize so many controls that you end up forgetting. And also, don't forget that they are all in a horizontal line, so it's pretty much impossible to hold on to buttons at the same time smoothly unless it's A and B. But sometimes, with the amount of things you can end up doing in the game, it's pretty hard to press smoothly at the same time. Unlike the Genesis, the SNES has their buttons all well laid out in the spots that they need to be. There are 4 buttons laid out in a square shape where it is easy to pretty much press as many buttons as possible and very smoothly at the same time. The buttons are responsive, and with the buttons being all right in the same spot, it doesn't have to make you move your fingers every 3 seconds. So to be fair with you, SNES just destroys the Genesis controller in almost every way possible. Now, it doesn't matter about the looks of the controller. The point of a controller is to be able to play your favorite games by using the controller you need that has a nice comfortable spot for you to play it. Point goes to the SNES. Now, what's more important than having the game cartridge itself? Well, obviously to keep it safe. So when I put it in a cover, on the SNES, they come in these boxes, and sometimes it can get pretty disturbing to have them all around your house that you don't even need them for half the times. So it's pretty much better to put them in a shelf full of games to make your own covers. The Genesis, however, has these nice boxes where you can just slip in your game and you can put them anywhere around your house. So in all honesty, the SNES was released a lot more later, but didn't think of the idea that Sega had. I mean, sure, the cover looks great, but sometimes you need something to store your games in. So in conclusion, the Genesis blows the SNES in this category. Hands down. So the commercials are probably one of the best ways to get people's attention. Now sure, days as are the way to get people's attention and can also be annoying, but back then, if you wanted to know what console would be released next, you had to wait for the TV to change to a commercial. Now remember the commercials Genesis does when Nintendo don't? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that most of the kids from the 90s will remember this stuff, whereas Nintendo and Sega would compete with their insults, and now in this day and age, if a company insulted another company, it would be a total war. In the old day and age, no one would even care because it would be a way for companies to gain money and try to lose interest in another company. There would also be another commercial where Genesis said blast processing, which is another way of saying better speed. Yeah, probably because Sonic was their mascot and that he was fast, and they would assume that the whole console would be fast. Nintendo's commercials weren't really much interesting. I mean, from what I saw, the slogan was that we have the superpower, which seems kind of cheesy. Honestly, if I was living in a generation back then, I think from viewing those commercials and I had no idea what these games were, I think I would stick with Genesis. I mean, I am a Nintendo fan, but Genesis just has more catchy commercials than Nintendo and doesn't sound too cheesy. So, Genesis earns a point. Now, the games are a huge part of this comparison. I mean, there are so many components about the games that I was actually thinking of making this worth more than the usual. And you know what? Considering the SNES has 1 point and the Genesis has 3 points, if SNES wins this, it doesn't matter. Because if I separated this segment, then SNES would most likely win. But let's get talking about this last part. So I'm gonna get talking about the main games of each console. Nintendo has Mario, while Sega has Sonic. Now, both games in perspective are really fun. I mean, Mario has the power-ups around the game, and Sonic is about speed. But which of these two do I enjoy the best? Well, personally, I would go with Mario because of how it's pretty much fun with playing Mario with the different unique games on the SNES, like Mario Kart, Super Mario World, and when playing Super Mario World, you can basically just have all the fun with the power-ups. The graphics are pretty hard to describe because of how there's not much difference between them, but in terms of how graphics are being shown, SNES probably does a better job because of how there's a lot more color rendition. And also the music is pretty hard to describe. I mean, both of these consoles have their good music one way or another. Honestly, when it comes to music, I think that any day I would prefer SNES over Genesis because of how there is some sort of charming added to it. I honestly can't really see myself too much into playing Genesis, and I think that playing the SNES games, in my opinion, would fit more into my personality. The Genesis may have more points, but it's not onto the games that the Genesis has a higher ranking. It's the outside of the Genesis that gave it such a high ranking. Honestly, I think that SNES wins this category by a lot. Now for me, it seems odd to put the Genesis at a higher ranking console between the two because of how it looks good on the outside, but to be honest, I think if I went a little bit more in depth and made almost everything as its own category, then SNES would destroy the Genesis any day. But I think that the Genesis deserves to be on my comparison Hall of Fame. Oh my gosh, I'm so tired. Anyways, if you don't even know why I'm recording this, well, I decided that I'm gonna finish this video all in one day. Well, the editing part. And I did, and it was pretty painful. I mean, I had to do this. It took me around, let's say, around 6 to 7 hours maybe? I have no idea, but it took a pretty long time. So, yeah, I'm gonna inform you guys with an update video on what's been going on. So, yeah, the Mario Kart Double Dash review, that is coming up next. Yes, I have been waiting for that Thunder reviews to be finally out. I'm also gonna, in that video, announce my next Thunder reviews after the Mario Kart Double Dash review. Which, speaking of the next Thunder reviews, I have the next Thunder reviews pretty much planned. I am right now editing it. It's getting finished. Like, I am just hopefully just going to be happy that it's gonna get finished pretty quickly. So yeah. So I've been working on a lot of things recently. This is the first Thunder video that I made in a long while. I have been trying to work on things like multitasking. I've been working on a new Thunder documentary, new Thunder IRL, new Thunder, I don't know. I've been working on a lot of things that I can't even remember. But yeah, so that's basically what I've been doing this past month, in case you guys have been wondering. So yeah, and right now at this point, I'm just gonna go back and making more videos. I know Rio 2016 Countdown, that took freaking forever. Like, it felt forever, like it was never gonna end, but it ended. So yeah, I know I'm gonna do one for London 2017 championships, but I'm not even sure if I'm gonna upload videos in the meantime. I probably will, but just smaller projects. So yeah, yeah, I basically have a lot of things. And also Thunder interviews, that's a series that a lot of people have forgot throughout my channel, but I am working on the new Thunder interviews. I've had it recorded since March. Yes, that long. I was originally gonna upload it at March, but then my whole computer crashed, so like that just pretty much that dismotivated me to work on it, and I also got really busy with making these videos. So yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna stop talking and work on the next Thunder reviews, like the next Thunder review. So yeah, I should be announcing that pretty soon. So yeah, but I mean, yeah, once I'm done with the next Thunder reviews, then, well, I mean, I guess I will probably work on that. But after I'm done for today, I'm gonna work on the next Thunder documentary. So yeah, hopefully you guys are gonna be happy for that. So yeah, I'll see you guys all later in the next video. Peace out, guys, and I'm begging!